I've been with Envirotech 13 years. I started out just inside administrative, business administrator, grew into inside sales, and then I moved into a full-time sales position and did that for 6 years. And then we did some we did some acquisitions of some smaller companies, one of which was based out of Cleveland. So with that, Jeff, they asked me to move into more of a supervisor managerial role, which I was really excited about. And so I've really left the sales side of things right about the time COVID hit, about 2020, 2021, and moved into operations. I'm our operations manager for the East region of Envirotech. So Envirotech subdivides the company into 4 regions. So we got our West region, which is located in Spokane, Washington. And then we have our Rocky Mountain, which is our home front, which is in Greeley, Colorado, where the company was started. Our Midwest region is based out of the Twin Cities. And then our East region is based out in New Cumberland over here in Harrisburg. So each region has a sales manager and an operations manager. So I'm our East operations manager for Envirotech. And so I've got a couple of sites where we bring in rail cars. We bring in product to transload, raw materials to manufacture, as I mentioned, the mag, the calcium, the sodium chlorides. I oversee our blending, our manufacturing, our drivers. We have our own truck drivers like Cope does, and then our order fulfillment team. So I supervise a handful of folks, both in Pennsylvania, as well as the latest company we've acquired out of Cleveland, Ohio, which is why I'll be there next week. We bring in a barge vessel once a year. This is kind of cool. From Oxy Chemical, Dow Chemical, Oxy, up in Ludington, Michigan. They are the largest domestic manufacturer of calcium chloride. So 50-pound bags of calcium chloride pellets, as well as liquid calcium chloride. Envirotech is the largest distributor of liquid calcium chloride for Oxy Chemical. We go through like 20 million gallons a year that we purchase from them to use as our base to make our liquid deicers. Anyway, long story short, once a year we bring in 1 million gallon barge vessel into Cleveland to our terminal, our barge terminal, right on the river in downtown Cleveland. The barge leaves Ludington, Michigan, and crosses 2 Great Lakes to get to Cleveland. It's a 4-day process. It's a huge barge, again, just about 1 million gallons. So it's supposed to arrive Saturday at 12 noon. So we will transload 1 million gallons from that barge into our bulk huge storage tanks, and then from there blend our products and ship them out via truck or rail cars. So I need to be there Saturday, Sunday, Monday to oversee this whole barge vessel transloading. It's always in October, once a year. It's a pretty neat process. It's something the general public probably doesn't even realize that goes into the de-icing industry on the back end. Cope Salt, you guys have a lot of 50-pound bags blended, packaged product, de-icers, palletized. So from an assembly line, you can relate to all those raw materials to going into a 50-pound bag, palletized, shrink wrapped, and on a truck that customers that actually receive those bags have no idea what went in to make those 50-pound bags ice melt. Same thing for us. We do more liquid than granular, but it's quite the experience to see a barge vessel 10 feet away from you, and I'm talking to the captain on a 2-way radio, and they're throwing us cables, and we're tying them off, and then pumping 1 million gallons. And we do all this in about 14 hours. It's pretty remarkable, our guys and what they do. Okay, so Envirotech Services partnered with Cope about 5 years ago. Unofficially, we were working together for probably a good 8 or 9 years. So we are a chemical supplier of both granular and liquid anti-icers and de-icers. So winter maintenance is our time of year for supplying and providing Cope Salt with our treated bulk salt, liquid enhanced products to treat the granular bulk salt, as well as liquid anti and de-icing materials For salt brine additives, we have a product we manufacture called AMP, AMP, that gets added to Cope Salt's 23% salt brine to enhance it. It actually reduces the chlorides. It's got a lot of benefits that not only to Cope, but would benefit the end user, the commercial property maintenance companies, hospitals, universities that Cope Salt then provides those products to. So we've been partnered with Cope Salt again for a good 4 or 5 years, and it's been really it's worked out really well. The two main products that we provide Cope Salt with would be our SOS treated salt, that is in the bulk form, bulk salt, and our AMP, which I previously mentioned, which is a salt brine additive, salt brine enhancer. A lot of times in our industry, we get asked the question about chlorides. How does that impact? How does that affect not only the environment, but the performance of the ice melt products? And so chlorides are very important to us at Envirotech. We have a full QC/RD lab located in Colorado at our company headquarters, and we are constantly looking to stay ahead of our competition, to stay at the cutting edge of the de-icing and anti-icing industry. So what that means is getting away from our old, we've always done just salt, getting away from that mind frame and helping educate our customers, like a Cope Salt, into understanding the benefits and advantages of using enhanced products. We can take a standard chloride-based product like a salt brine, like a magnesium chloride or a calcium chloride, and what we do is we manufacture chemicals that help reduce those chlorides. And so it gets kind of technical, but basically from just an entry level standpoint, what we want to do is help our customers not only reduce chlorides in those products, but how can we also reduce the amount of product that companies are using. And so instead of just going out and dumping tons and tons of bulk salt, that's not very environmentally conscious. We want to help reduce the amount of bulk salt or regular sodium chloride that customers are using. And so what we do is we manufacture, for example, our AMP product. AMP will help reduce the chlorides along with reducing the application rates. So what we've seen with our partners in the field, like Cope Salt, and other customers across the country, is that we are helping customers reduce their salt brine application rates by 1/3. So if you have a lane mile and someone's using, just for easy numbers, 100 gallons per lane mile of salt brine, when you add AMP to your salt brine to enhance it, not only does it lower the effective temperature of that product, so when you have much lower, colder temperatures, that product will work well below this industry standard of salt at 17 degrees. Our product, AMP with salt brine, will work to roughly 0 degrees, depending on what type of storm it is, whether it's a wet, heavy, or dry, fluffy, or snow. But we're lowering the effective temperature of that product along with reducing the amount of product. So instead of 100 gallons per lane mile, we're seeing application rates between 60 and 65 gallons per lane mile. What does that mean for us and the customer? Well, you're saving money because you're using less product, and those trucks that are applying the product can go a further distance before they're empty and have to come back and get loaded again. It reduces their carbon footprint, it reduces wear and tear on their infrastructure, and for a lot of smaller customers like your property maintenance companies, hospitals, universities that are understaffed when it comes to snow maintenance, they can cover more ground with less men, or women, with less labor. So there's a lot of advantages to products that are manufactured, like at Envirotech from our quality control RD lab, because it helps the industry, again, save money, reduce chlorides, and the products work at lower temperatures. Another question we get asked is, what's the difference between a quality controlled product like Envirotech that we manufacture versus some of these newer products like the beet juice, the sugars, the carbohydrate-based products, or organic products is what we hear in the industry a lot. The main difference between products like the byproducts I just mentioned and what we manufacture, we're chemically manufacturing it from scratch. So we can take a test, we can sample it, we can quality control it to make sure it's meeting. The issue that we have with the carbohydrate or organic based products is because they are a byproduct coming from beet juice, sugar, sugar-based products, corn products. There's no way to test those for a quality control standpoint because they're a byproduct from another industry. Do they have advantages? They do. Do they help reduce the amount of the effects of corrosion or chlorides in the environment? They do. However, the problem with those products are they don't melt snow and ice. We get asked, when are we going to invent something that melts snow and ice but doesn't have any chlorides? Well, it's almost impossible, because chemically a chloride is the only thing that can break the bond of the frozen water, the molecules. And so the organics help to, once you melt snow and ice, keep it slushy, but it isn't doing anything to increase the melting capacity. So we like to take our chloride-based mag, calcium, sodium, and add chloride reducers, different polymers, different chemicals to those base products, to then not only melt more snow and ice, but be more environmentally conscious in the reduction of chlorides. So that's just a quick overview of the products that we chemically manufacture and provide customers like Cope Salt with, versus a lot of what we're hearing in the industry right now, again, with organics and carbohydrate based. That's kind of a general overview of or comparison of the two. As far as where we're at in the industry, there aren't any regulations right now that companies have to technically follow. It's not like the fertilizer industry. I often refer to fertilizers because when you buy a bag of fertilizer for your yard, the government regulates what you have to, that chemical manufacturers have to show what's on that bag as far as the ingredients. With de-icers, you can buy a 50-pound bag of ice melt and the manufacturer does not have to show what is in that bag. There's no regulations that manufacturers have to include that. So you have to be careful in making decisions when you're purchasing your de-icers and anti-icing products, because companies can put a lot of things in there that aren't relevant to fill it, and really there are no regulations that require you to do so. We like to be very forthcoming. We share our SDS sheets. We do share our products with customers. And so again, being open, educating the customer on chloride reduction, that really right now is kind of the industry trend. And where we're at is how can we reduce the amount of chlorides we're using to be better stewards of the environment, and also to lower our, as we mentioned, our cost on those products as well. Absolutely. We are seeing a lot of questions regarding chloride reduction in our industry. It's very important to us that we are good stewards of the environment, so we like to manufacture products to help reduce chloride content. So we can take our raw materials like a magnesium, a calcium, or a sodium chloride, and we can enhance those by adding polymers and chloride reducers, which actually become a value-add product to customers like Cope Salt. And so a couple of advantages there are you're lowering the effects of corrosion and chlorides in the environment, because we're helping customers reduce the amount of product that they're applying. And if you can reduce the amount of product, then you will reduce, obviously, the chlorides that we're introducing into the environment. So you're saving a customer money. So that's important to us, as well as being good stewards for the environment.